And we're live. It's got yeah.
He's always got to do something, isn't he?
I know he's got to do that. Well, surprise tonight. This was tonight's recording was supposed to be a podcast with Greg from MCS Yamaha, but with Greg's decided he's quite happy to go live to take questions live from the chat. So we'll be watching the comments. We'll just chat. There's 5 watching just now, so we'll see. Throttle Daft first. Commenting on your own live stream. So as usual, you've got myself, Mark, the AyrshireVlogster. You've got Scott, Scott Nav, and we've got Chris, Throttle Daft. And as you already can see, we've got Greg, our guest from MCS Yamaha. Primarily tonight, we're going to talk through the new MT range. So it is a bit of a surprise live stream. So let's see how we go on. But we'll chat amongst ourselves for the first 10 minutes. See who all joins us. There's wee MT07 biker on. And Z-Head as well. Evening Grant and evening Z-Head. How you doing? Say hi, Greg.
Oh, hi. Sorry, am I allowed to talk?
Hi, mate. You can talk as much as you want. You talk as much as you want, mate.
How are you, Greg? All good?
I'm good. Actually, today I was working today and I had a really dodgy stomach, so I was kind of worried about coming on, but I managed to get past it. But I think I had a poisoned Easter egg. It was really random. I was doing some MOTs the other day and I was taking a bike to Bathgate. A guy called Andras bought a Z1000. Good choice. And on the way there, really randomly, I came out the MOT garage and this woman just came up and started chapping the van window and just gave me an egg through the window. And I hadn't had any lunch. So I just thought on the way there, I just ate this egg and it was just sitting in the sun, getting all warm. And yeah, I think that's why I had the shits and I wanted to spew all day, but I got through it. So I'm here.
Is that why the beer's trimmed sickness?
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. It was just a filter by the end.
Brilliant.
What about yourself? How you all doing?
I was doing well. I was going to ask you if you had much chance to get out with, obviously, what you did, but I was out tonight and I was out last night. Chris and Scott have been away in their jollies as well. So, aye.
Obviously staying at my town council area.
Well, that's it. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't. So get on.
Ayrshire-ish.
Ayrshire-ish, aye. Ish is fine.
There's guest on Lane. Hi guys.
How you doing?
And there you go, Greg, straight away. First question.
Oof.
Can we service a winter edition? Of course we can. We can service that. And if anyone else is looking, we've actually got a winter edition in for sale just now as well. It's not up on the website yet. So.
Let's do a price comparison. I actually know what this bike was bought for. So what's yours selling for?
We're still waiting on a few parts to make it look absolutely primo, but it'll be going up around 10-ish, something like that. So
what's the mileage?
7,000.
Oh, this bike had only done 5.
Oh well.
How's a wee bit more expensive?
Ours is a 2016, so.
So while we've got you there and Guest on Lane's come on, so we need to actually just say, so Guest on Lane are YouTubers who are currently in Spain, and Guesto had an MT09 and he doesn't have it anymore. He's now got a Fireblade retro replica and he's looking, because they're in Spain and the roads aren't as good, as wide and whatever over there than they are over here, he's looking at trading it in. So he's actually wondering if there's any deals going for the 09 SP.
For the current model or the new one? Current model, we've got one, definitely a deal on that. New stuff, but just when we can get it, we can see what we can do. But right now, I've still got, I think I've maybe actually got 2 last year's models, and definitely we'll do a good deal on them, definitely.
Well, there you go, Carlos, you've heard them.
Carlos, give a bell.
Get in contact with MCS.
Yeah. I had one, actually the guy that traded in the winter edition got an MT9 SP and he got a cracking deal as well. So
there you go.
Oh,
there you go. Yeah.
And G-Man is also asking, can you do the data tag thingy as well?
We can still do them. They don't come as standard from Yamaha, but we can still get our hands on them, so no problem.
Yeah. Right, so G-Man, you can now tell Gordon Air.
There's Carol on as well. Evening, Carol. How you doing?
Oh, just while we're hanging, what we're drinking, I've got Peaky Blinders whiskey.
My usual vodka and iron brew.
I'm just on the cans of coconut, guys.
Old school.
I'm mixing it with.
I'm a huge export.
Can you still buy them?
Oh, aye. I'll buy a big stash if you can.
There's guest on Lane said that they will be back in the country and they'll drop you a line.
Brilliant.
There
Good
you
stuff.
go.
No problem at all.
So hopefully we'll get that sorted for Carlos.
Absolutely.
Grant, let's stay. You're welcome.
Aye, no bother. And then we've got, well, I suppose we just pile into the questions as a couple.
Well, I've got two. I've got two questions that I want to ask. I think one of them was actually one of the questions. But one of them was, what's the deal with the R7? Coming? Not coming?
We don't know yet. But see, as soon as that Aprilia RS, the new 660, as soon as that got released, I just wanted that. I don't know about yourselves, but I just thought, a twin, just a wee twin kind of Moto2 style bike for the road, but without a big crazy price tag would be amazing. But then whenever you see all the comments for it, I mean, there's a lot of folk that want the R7, there's a lot of folk want an R9. So I think either of those would be amazing. I just don't know what they'd go for. But
so there's no talk?
There's no official talk. No, it's all rumors and stuff. It's the same. We'll get onto the MT10 later, but it's all rumors just now. Whenever Yamaha come out with stuff, they're really quite good with their secrets. So we don't get anything. You get bits and bobs here and there from certain people, and you think maybe that could be something, but it's never. So I think they throw out red herrings from time to time just to keep it a bit more stum. But no, definitely. I mean, I really hope they do make an R7. As much as an R9 would be cool as well. I just think, for the road, the MT7 engine is just cracking, and just a proper lightweight wee thing for flicking about would be fun. But weight-wise, you can probably get an MT9 not far off the same. So, I'll be happy with either. But but no, like I say, as soon as that Aprilia came out, the only thing that puts me off that is it is still a bit of a premium price tag because you've got all the electronics on it, because it's 100 horsepower, and you take it down to 75, cut all the electronics off it, and just put it back to just a wee fun bike you can flick about and have fun. And I'd quite like that, but only time will tell. Aye.
Well, my other question, you've just hit on it there, talking about the MT10, but I've seen that there's going to be an MT10 Dark Knight. There is one, whatever you want to call it, be a promo or whatever, but there's allegedly one out there.
All right.
It's a prototype. It's just a guy made one.
All right.
It's basically just called the Dark Knight, but it's just black on black on black. It looks tremendous, but
yeah.
There's also a couple. I'm on a couple of MT10 pages, obviously, and there's a couple of full carbon SPs, and they just they look ridiculous.
Yeah. There's a lot you can do to them. But I think some of the best. Do any of you guys follow? Are you on Instagram? There's a guy called Car Design Concepts. It's like KAR.
We spoke about this last night. I had a quick look today, and there's something special about it.
Yeah. He just does renders, but honestly, his renders of what the MT10 should look like, check it out. It's just, he's just put so much thought. And look at the rest of his stuff. He does all Hondas and all sorts of bikes, but just check him out. Honestly, it just looks like how you think it could look. It's quite impressive. The guy's, and if you talk to the guy as well, he knows his stuff. He's really quite.
Just going to bust my bubble and make my bike look ugly.
You need to drink it.
The Dark Knight, although I don't like black bikes, but this Dark Knight just looks the Hormoz. So it does.
It's properly blacked out.
I had it somewhere, a picture of it. It was meant to be Yamaha that's taken on the idea from the guy, and obviously changed his idea and put it. But similarly, they're talking about building this MT10 Dark Knight. I don't wonder if you'd heard of them, obviously.
No, there's definitely nothing even on the Yamaha rumour mill of that at the moment. But again, if it was, we wouldn't know. They really are quite good at keeping it away from us. We're just kept in the dark until.
It's all right, you can tell us.
I wish I would have could. But no, it does sound good, so fingers crossed. But one thing I am glad that seems to be the turbo rumor seems to have died down now. There was all this talk of putting a turbo on it and all that kind of stuff, and that seems to have disappeared, which is I'm kind of glad of that, because I just think, I mean, it could still happen, I guess, but I don't think I'd want that. I think, a bit more power, fair enough, if that's what folk want. I don't think it needs it, but that's what folk want. But I just thought a turbo just sounded like a bit of a risky move for, I mean, the time being, it's one of the best sounding bikes out there by a long shot. And I think to muck about with that engine.
The Yamaha Dark Knight edition is by TT Big Bike Design, and it's got a Yamaha avant-garde tail on it.
All right, cool.
But apart from that, it is just black on black on black. It looks ridiculous. Mark, if you can do maybe a wee Google search, you'll see a image, got the images on it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll bring it up.
I'll start looking for it, mate. MT Dark Knight.
Well, while you're doing that,
MT10.
While you're doing that, guest on link up a comment. I presume it must be to Carlos. I have a question. How long does it take to wash that moustache? It looks like it might have a life of its own. That's also you, Greg.
Well, it took so long. I mean, I had the beard down to here before, and it was taking too long. So now I've got rid of that. It's only about 4 hours to do this. It's not so bad. It's good for flossing your teeth as well and eat a burger.
So how is the? Oh, there we go.
Oh, nice.
It just looks the whole.
That's bonkers. Yeah. It's got a proper Euro Street Fighter kind of feel to it with the R1 back end. That is cool.
I would love them to make that.
Yeah.
I would.
It's just a big chunk of metal, isn't it? It's brilliant.
I would put my name to that. I would.
The Dark Knight edition with a Transformer badge above it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would have that in the garage.
That's
100%.
nice.
Yeah.
So Yamaha, if you're watching, get it made.
Aye.
What's the guy's name? Yamasaki or something? Get him on it.
Oh, wee Grant, he likes it. Fucking hell, that's nice. It's some back kit.
What's this for Z-Head? A message? Oh, that was one you were talking about. The make, break. Must be.
Oh, yeah. And I totally agree with that. Yeah. I mean, like, every single time a bike, you're completely right. You see a new bike come out, and then all of a sudden he's just like, well, you should have done that. You're like, fuck. And he's a genius.
You think they would employ him in some degree, wouldn't you?
Cheers, Don.
Aye. Well, yeah, I don't know if maybe they have started meeting up with him, because I've seen a few of his photos and stuff, and he does seem to be schmoozing with some bike manufacturers. So it'd be good to think if they could get someone like him on board, because the problem with any design on bikes, it always comes down to some guy designs a really good looking bike, car, whatever, and then it gets passed over to the people who do all the homologation and the how far your tail tidy needs to be from your wheel and all that crap, and they just ruin it. But that's just the vehicle industry, isn't it? Same with Euro 5 and all that kind of stuff. You get an amazing, powerful engine, and you see how much you can restrict it, but you can always de-restrict it.
It's the first thing that gets done, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Carlos that was on it. Asked him this one, but it's actually Emma. So evening, Emma. Carlos is currently slaving away for Emma's 18 hours of footage, probably. So how is working that for you?
It's all right. It's just a bit kind of sterile. It's well, I say sterile. It's been a mess until today. We finally got the place cleaned because we're going to have customers back in. But I just mean in the sense that you just everything online, and it's fine. You can send your videos out. You can talk to folk on the phone. You deliver the bikes contactless, all this kind of stuff. And we've got by. It's been okay. And you get a bit of chat with someone when you're there dropping off the bike. But other than that, it's I just miss having the buzz about the place and just being able to go in and just kind of go into a bit of have a good chat, get into a bit of a blur. And at the end of the day, there's lots of happy folk with new bikes, and it's that's what it's all about, really. And just now, it just feels a bit like, right, turn up, check the emails, check the phones, make phone calls, and that's fine. It pays the bills, but it doesn't really sustain you as emotionally, I suppose. You just want to kind of go and have fun. And it's coming back soon. next week we're open by appointment. So if you want to come down and see a bike, there's something you've had your eye on for a while, give us a bell. Get yourself booked in, and then the end of the month, 26th, I think 27th of April, I think it's when we're open. That's when we should be able to open the doors, and I assume it'll still be masks on and all that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
can live with that. Yeah, at least folk will be back in, and
a small price to pay.
Exactly. Yeah, and it won't be forever. So.
No.
Can I ask you a quick question? Everybody will want to know as well is. The demonstrator bikes, I know there's been a delay, there's hundreds of delays with stuff like this. Have you had a confirmed date yet? Are you expecting
next week? Next week we should have, now don't quote me on this, but we should next week have an MT7, an MT9 and a Tenere 700 again. And Tricity 300, we got that as well. So that's your car license one. So that'll be a bit different. But yeah, other than that, dates can change, as we all know, but we did get some paperwork through the other day, which normally that's the sign that they're just on their way. So, and some other dealers already got theirs, so we were kind of a bit lagging behind there. But that's just how deliveries go, and like you say, COVID, Brexit, all the other kind of things that are slowing things down.
What bike's that you can ride with your car license?
Tricity 300. So it's like the Piaggio MP3s. Yeah. It's like that. So it's a 300cc. It's effectively an X-Max 300 with an extra wheel on the front. But unlike the Nikon, the wheels are far enough apart so you can actually push a button, lock it upright, and you can ride it on a car license. Yeah. So and price-wise, they're about $7,500, which is actually cheaper than the Piaggio's got a bigger engine. It's a 500, but they're about $9 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, around there. So they're actually, for that style of thing, they're quite well priced. So I think we should sell a few of them. I think probably sell more than the Nikons, because the Nikon, don't get me wrong, it's a brilliant bike, but you don't put the side stand up, it'll fall over. It is still a bike and it rides like it, whereas this is meant to be more of a kind of open it up to everyone. Yeah, so that should be pretty cool. So if you see one nipping about, it's probably me playing on it all the time. So it does look quite fun.
I've been reading obviously reviews and actually seen reviews on the MT07, MT09, and people are saying that when you see the bike in the flesh, that the front headlamp doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, that's what we always kind of wanted. I think right from the start, when you first saw the photos, especially of the 9, the one thing we said is it better look good in the flesh. So I'm glad to hear that people are actually saying that, and can't wait to see it myself. But it's actually grown on me. The 7, as soon as I saw the 7, I liked it. I thought that looks great. And then the 9, it just looked too high. And then it was actually that Car Designs. That's where I first found him, because on his page he's got one with he's just on a render of the headlight a little bit lower, and it looks amazing. And I initially was going, oh yeah, you could buy kits and lower them. But then the more I look at it, the more I think, I don't know if it needs it. I think it's just different. It's I'm not going to say it's as much of a design classic as a Ducati 999, but when that came out, everyone went, what the hell is that? And now when you look back at a 999, it is a stunning bike. So I think it is. It's just sometimes you've got to go in a bit of a different direction just to see what happens. And they've kind of tried that. They've still made the bike a triple with very much the same as last time, but on steroids and with all the toys. But they've just kind of pushed the design a little bit different just to kind of see what that does. And fair play to them. It's good to see someone taking a chance.
It needed an overhaul anyway. It pretty much.
Definitely.
Hold the phone.
Mm-hmm.
What are you eating?
Cabbage nibbles.
Yeah,
nice.
You can't just run that.
Yeah, them.
Hold on. Open wide.
I've got a question, which Chris, this is something you were talking to me about as well for Carol. The XSR 900. We were talking about that the other day, Chris, weren't we?
So I said that the new Trident, I think it looks very much like the XSR. And everybody keeps comparing, the new Trident coming out, they're going to compare it to the MT900. Well, I think the MT07 is a totally different bike. I think this stylistically is far more like the XSR. And people will try to say, Yamaha's going to lose their MT7 range because of this Trident. Whereas I think, I don't, that's just my personal opinion.
I mean, I have to admit, when the Trident first got released, it was a bit of a oh shit, because obviously when you look at the price, you look at the spec, it is. I mean, it's a cracking bike, you can't deny it, and the triple engine, I'm sure it's really fun to ride, and it's got so much kit on it. But you're right, I just don't think it's, I think for new riders who don't know what they want, they might go for it because they've not already picked their style of bike. Whereas if you want a hyper naked or something that looks a bit more sporty and aggressive, you wouldn't go for the Trident. It does just look like, and don't get me wrong, I think it's a great looking bike, but it's not that hyper naked style. It's a cool wee retro thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I just think the other thing I keep on reading about as well, like I say, I've still not tried the MT7, the new one. But the one thing I keep hearing all the reviewers saying is that when they compare the two next to each other, the MT7 engine is still punchier, even though it's 1.5 horsepower down this year. Apparently, they say you can't feel the difference, and it still feels more lively and exciting. So we'll just have to wait and see how it affects the sales. I don't think it'll affect them massively because I think, like you say, they're different bikes.
Yeah, totally.
The other thing a lot of folk kind of wanted was they wanted to see the upside down forks on the MT7, and again, they're one of those things that stylistically they do look cool. And now, my last bike had the upside down forks and I did like the look of them. But if it meant that the price was going to go up much higher, then there was no point. Because to get a nice set of forks on there would have put the price up. Why not just use stuff and just tweak it a bit to make it suit the bike and that platform and go with it? And I think at the end of the day, it is built down to a budget for a good reason. And, in the past, the early ones, people did slate the suspension a little bit. I never thought it was that bad. I thought it was just, it was quite fun. But I ride a TDM, which is like a fucking pogo stick. I think the way they've gone with it and the way they've spent their money, I think they've done it quite right. Fair enough, I'm wearing a Yamaha hoodie, and I'm going to say that, but no, I'm more talking as a guy who works in MCS than a Yamaha guy right now.
Well said, Ted. Is this true? I'm sure he read somewhere the old model headlight could be a straight swap.
I'd heard that too. I've still not seen it or seen the I assume it's just plug it in and flip it over. Yeah, it would be. But no, I had heard that pretty soon after it came out that the people were talking about that, because the people did it there's people who did the 2018 or whatever headlights off one of the older models as well, and I think that was relatively easy too. So yeah, I think if people don't like the headlights, that's the thing. They'll do something about it. It's not exactly the end of it. And when you look at, we're jumping onto the 9 a bit here, but obviously when you look at how much you get for your money with the MT9 this year, it's an amazing package. It really is.
Let's go to the new MT07 and the specs. And we'll let you. We'll let you, since we're talking about the 7 range, and we'll let you carry on with that and see what the difference is.
Right. So the big things this year. We'll start at the front. So the headlight, we've already kind of covered that, which, to be fair, if you'd ridden the old MT7, I'm sure plenty of you out there have, the headlight is not the best. It was always a bit of any bike with the older halogen lights, they're never great. They did the job in the dark. But to put a nice new powerful projector headlight on the front, brilliant idea. The next thing at the front would be your brakes as well. They put bigger discs on the front. So that'll just, obviously the stopping power on them was always adequate, but if you do push them a bit harder, it is nice to have a bit more. Give me 2 seconds. I've got a wee list of things just to kind of rattle through. Tires, that's another big one. I mean, it's such a basic little thing. BT23s, perfectly good tires. I've actually got them on my bike right now because it's got stupid wheel sizes and I couldn't find anything good, but they actually are all right. I'm quite surprised. I actually feel I can flick them about a bit more than I could with the Pilot Road 4s. It's only in the wet that you have to rein it in a wee bit. But Pilot Road 5s as standard is such a good idea. It's, the last thing you want is... it really is. You're looking at a bike, and then if you've got to factor in the price of your bike, and then you're thinking, oh, I need to swap them out straight away. It's never a nice feeling on a bike. You shouldn't have to do that. They should put tires like that on bikes from new, and I'm glad to see that they have. There's little things inside that don't really show, and I don't think they really advertise it that much on the Yamaha site, but the gear changes, the actual shape of the cogs inside, they've cut different angles into them. So if anyone's ridden an MT7, you'll know sometimes on the down changes, you can lock up the back wheel a bit, which, to be fair, it's a twin. That's, it's part of the fun. But obviously some newer riders getting into it maybe want a slightly smoother feel to it. So instead of putting a slipper clutch on, they've just reshaped the gearbox a bit to make it a bit more kind of smooth and flowing. So that should work pretty well. Like I say, the power is down. It's 1.5 horsepower down, thanks Euro 5. But at the same time, it's still a nice, fun wee engine. The bars on them, they've put tapered bars on them this year, and they're a bit wider as well. So it's just going to feel a bit more flickable, a bit more chuckable. The old one, again, cracking bike, but the position could feel a little bit kind of cramped on long journeys. So they've just opened that up a little bit. And if you prefer narrower bars, cut them down. It's not the end of the world. You can always just kind of move them in a little bit, as long as there's, not seen it in the flesh, so I don't know how much room there is to move them in, but I would have thought for the 15 mil either side they've added, you could just trim that off quite easily. So it's almost an option. What else was there? There was something else I was going to say. No, that was the main things really. The new display, obviously, the display is very similar to what they've had on the MT3 already, and the MT125 I think uses that now as well. And it's just a nice, really clear, easy to see display. It's not color, but it's black with white writing, so it stands out really well, and it tells you everything you need to know. And yeah, other than that, I think they've not really mucked about with it too much. They know that they've got, you know, a bike which has been one of the best-selling bikes. Yeah, absolutely.
Massive.
Yeah,
Been
it was
massive,
125,000 sold across Europe or something like that. It's just, you know, it was a.
It's not besniffed, that is it?
No, not at all. No, and it brought back the whole punchy little twins, because there's been other things out there, SB650s and things like that. The Z650s, you know, and they're all great bikes, but none of them have the same punchy engine. And I've always found it a bit strange that they're around the same power, and they are great in other ways. And the Suzuki's a good value for money, but the Yamaha's always had that little bit more oomph to it. And like I say, even when you read or watch some of the reviews, a lot of folk are taking the Trident out and then taking that out and just saying, you know, the Yamaha still has that bit of edge, even though it's on paper about 5 horsepower down. It feels like it's got more. So, I'm glad I'm selling them.
Did you say that the new MT7 is down in power from last year?
Aye, 1.5 horsepower. It's Euro 5 stuff. It's the kind of thing that, you know, if you swap the exhaust and get a wee ECU flash, if you're that way inclined, you know, you can move it. What's that?
Basic biker sticker.
Basic biker sticker, yeah, that adds 5 horsepower immediately. No, you can get it back up to the same horsepower as the last one, so it's not any faster, but at the same time, it's a bike that's aimed at, you know, new riders, as well as, you know, we sell more of them to experienced riders, people who've gone from fast stuff, and now they want to get something nimble that they can, you know, Muirkirk Straven Road, they can blast down that and chuck it about, and that's what it's for. It really is. It's and then if you're too tall, get a Tracer 700. Still a cracking bike. Doesn't have the looks. Like I say, it's not quite the same thing. But if you really want the engine and you're a bit taller, we've had guys do that as well, and it's a great idea. The engine is worth it. It is. It's a brilliant engine. And then the Tenere 700, obviously, that's using that as well. And, you know, a bike like that, they just wanted something which was going to be fun, punchy, loads of torque, and you can thrash it, take it off road. You can do what you want with it. It's bomb proof. They're just brilliant engines. Is
the torque settings just the same for the old model and the new one?
Torque's down a smidge as well, unfortunately. So, aye. Aye, quite right. You should love your MT.
Euro 5 for you, isn't it? It's just smothering it again. It's just going to get worse every time, isn't it? But as you said, as soon as you buy it, if you want to do whatever you want to do, exhaust systems, flashes, whatever, then you're no longer getting back and clearing it out and let it breathe.
Well, a lot of the bikes now, because they've got to put such big, you know, restrictions and catalysts and all this kind of stuff on them, you end up putting so much of that on that you need to make the bike more powerful in the first place to make it still fun. So when you take everything off and you get it de-restricted and flashed, you're going to have a more powerful bike than you would have in previous years. So if you look at it that way, fair enough, you've got to spend a bit more to get back to that standard, but you will get a faster bike now than you did before. You just need to get your wallet out, unfortunately.
But we all know, so when you've got a bike, what you spend additionally on it never goes anywhere.
No,
it's never counted. Well, Chris could count up his Z and we'd probably all get a fright.
What's that?
How much you've spent in your Z.
It's
I mean,
priceless.
it's,
To me, it's priceless. That's one thing that will never get swapped out in my garage. I see John McAllen, he just wrote, it looks like he will be heading in with his GSX 1259 for an MT.
Quite right.
So there you go.
You asked for Greg.
Your sales just lost. Great love you away.
See you later, mate. Cheers, mate. Thanks for jumping on.
We go on to the MT9. Zeta's pop a good comment. Do you think the superbike market's dead, or do you think it will ever compete against the super naked market?
Personally, I think I don't know. I don't know. I think a lot of things kind of go in there's the generational gap where you've got whatever your dad had, you don't want. So you've always got a wee kind of bit of, oh no, my dad had an MT. I'm not getting that. I'm getting a sports bike. And I think it will come back eventually, but I think it's more likely to be. I don't think it'll be superbikes quite so much. I think it is going to go to this kind of middleweight, like the like you say, the R7 concept or the RS660, that kind of thing. I think superbikes for superbikes, I don't know. There is still a massive following, and when you look at sales, when they don't really sell in Scotland, but I saw quite a weird little graph the other day, and it said that in the very south of England, superbike sale, that's one of the biggest sellers down there still. So I don't know if it's just a temperature thing or what, or I don't know. But they do still sell in some parts of the UK, but I don't know. I just think.
Well, we done it. We went out and we had a pheasant. Didn't we have the parrots?
Jesus.
Yeah, the temperature difference is tremendous.
Aye, it does make high.
On Wednesday, England were getting 25 degrees and we were getting 8. You know what I mean? I would personally say it was dead. I think any largs Inverary, I would say 75 to 85% of it is just hyper nakeds.
It's all hyper nakeds, definitely.
It's always just more than they're not as quick, but you've got your KTM Super 187 brake. It'll keep up with pretty much every other sports bike out there. You know what I mean? And then once it's getting into corners, you're sitting upright, you're flying it over, you're back up.
I don't think it's completely dead, but I think it is. It will be once you buy a super bike and then you try it hyper naked, and you realise you can get the same.
You get almost the same speed, but more comfort.
I think the other thing you get from it as well is you get more of an exhilaration. You get more of a sense of speed just because you've not got that fairing, and it is that kind of you feel it. Aye. Whereas, you've all heard the whole, once you're tucked in, 130 feels like 70, and it's completely true. It's just that, you don't really get the same. You need to go ridiculously license-losingly quick before you actually feel anything. And I think just for more folk, and they're cheaper. Hyper nakeds are cheaper, so it's why not? It's you can spend all that extra money for something that's going to lose your license.
We don't condone such behaviour.
No, we don't. No, you can't do that. In theory, of course.
There's a way you go. In Northern Ireland, there's a great selection of bikes on the road now, so he must be saying it's kind of mixed where he is. But Chris is right. For Inverary, where we've been, Glencoe, you were away the other day. No, you've got Maidens. We've went everywhere apart from Skye, I think. And it is, as Chris has said, no, it's primarily naked.
I think naked. And a lot of the boys I know, or I've seen them on Blades, I've seen them on Jigsaws, I've seen them on whatever BM 1000 hours, and then a couple of months down the line, you're seeing them, and then they've got an S1000R, or they've got the Chono.
I think that's rather than sports bike, because you know exactly what you're getting with a sports bike. It's just balls out, flat out, low. Whereas now, when you get the hyper naked, you're talking about chuckability. Range, Yamaha.
No. The range on an MT10 is fine. You not carry a jerry can on your back, no?
And I need to do the same with my FZ1. It's 100. Well, it's actually less than that. As Chris was had a worry in running Inverary, because I was running and I just made it, and Chris wasn't far behind me, to be honest, because he was running in fumes as well.
Well,
It was
my blade had a little bit more than what yours, but
nerve-wracking.
the two of them are the tank size for me is atrocious for them too. I think they need a race up that's full of petrol so you can tip out the
The thing is, I've got an 18-litre tank. I think the MT10's a 17-litre tank. It's not the tank size, it's how much it drinks.
He's frozen. Oh, the gremlins are in.
Yeah.
He's off.
Your screen just froze. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, you're back.
Hey, you're back.
Aye. Well, I had the
You're like a news reporter. If you
I had the FZ8 before, and that was kind of the same. It's about. What
have you got now?
TDM 900 now.
Oh.
Yeah, it just felt like a bit of a change. I just wanted a twin. It's every time I've been out on a twin, I just like mucking about and locking the back wheel up and all that kind of stuff. And it's just the torque. And again, it's that legal fun thing. You know, you can blast away from the lights and it's fun. You don't need to get it up into the rev range, which the FZ8, you know, it still had bottom end torque, but not like this thing. And then this thing fizzles out in, you know, miles an hour. So it's a different style of fun. But it's really comfy. That's the main thing. I did the North Coast last year, and on the way back down, I did a full tank of fuel without getting off. I normally stop a wee bit. I normally go about 100 and something miles and just have a wee kind of stretch because I got dodgy back, legs, everything. But I just thought I'll just get home. And then I got home and my knee was like I could barely walk. It was just completely seized up. So I wanted something a bit more comfy. So TDM came in, got that, and then I absolutely love it. It fits. I just jumped on it, and it feels like it's my bike already. It's so obviously I put the big noisy exhaust on it and stuff like that, and it's just I just thump about on it, and I'll probably keep it for a few years, then change. Oh, to be fair, I like it that much. I'll maybe keep it and get something else as well. But for the time being, I'm pretty happy with it. But I will eventually want more power again. But that's just how it goes.
An adventure.
What's that?
Did the classic TDM 900 as an adventure?
It's kind of the original, because it came out at the same time as the first Multistrada, and it's kind of the original kind of tracer style, you know, like these popular bikes now, the kind of the Tracer, Multistrada, kind of road adventure bikes. It's kind of the first one of them. Well, the TDM 850 was kind of the first of them. And they've got a bit of a kind of cult following just because I'll give you a shot of mine at some point, man. It's just fun. It just launches really nicely. And then once it gets up to silly speeds, it does fizzle out a bit, but it's, you know, you've already had your fun and you just keep doing that a lot on a really twisty road and it's great. So it does remind me of an MT7 a lot, or it's much softer though. That's the only thing. I've been looking at getting Racetech cartridge simulators put into the forks just to kind of stiffen the front, because even if you don't rev match, if you don't blip it, it does dive like massively. But it keeps you on your toes. But no,
that's
I love it.
One Ted as usual. I get hyper naked at bedtime every night.
But the check is lying.
Then we're getting some comments about 18 litres, shocking. So what is the supposed consumption on an MT10? What is it supposed to be?
See, Yamaha, well, actually, he can answer. Oh, he's that way. My camera's the wrong way around.
On yesterday's run at Galloway, I was getting 42 miles to the gallon.
Nice.
Right.
On the way down.
Yes,
I'm
getting to that. The last 20 minutes of the run, which was a wee bit spirited, shall we say. You're lucky if I was touching 30. But on the way down, me and you used nearly the exact same amount of fuel. Because we was at the petrol station, we filled up, and it was.
I was £8.20, you were £8.87.
It was something like that. But yes, there has been a lot of complaints on the MT10 pages that the tank is small, but I think it's down to the rider. If you're worrying about the size of the tank and who you're using, you've bought the wrong bike.
Aye, pretty much. Yeah, it definitely is, and it is. It's a proper, you know, it's the crossplane engine does, when you crank it open, it does all sorts of crazy stuff, and it wants a lot of juice to do it. And if you want that kind of performance, you got to put some petrol in it, and it's that's just how it goes, really. That's what I would say to that. It's there is definitely better economy bikes, and if that's what you want, get one. If you want what? Yeah, exactly. There's not one bike that does everything great. And if it's just that it costs you a bit more fuel, then so be it for something like that, I think. Yeah. You compare it. I mean, if you went out and your toy was a Corvette or something like that, and you're lucky to do 8 miles to the gallon, then you could complain. But I think when you're still getting near to 30 miles to the gallon, that's pretty good going. My Ignis that I just got rid of was doing 30 miles to the gallon, and it was crap. So that's the way I look at it.
There's another pretty cracking
That's exactly
comment.
it.
Away you go.
Yeah.
It's not the size of your tank, it's the size of your balls.
That's exactly it.
Carol Dutch,
Yeah.
comment, it says the only bad thing he can say about his S1000R is it doesn't have an external temp gauge.
All right.
I never knew that.
No, I did not know that.
The only
There you go.
Joe Stubbs, his bike's got an external temp gauge in it, Scott. You've seen it earlier.
Aye.
What's that? Fuel consumption don't matter to me, but I like to have a decent tank size. Right,
Aye.
okay.
Guest, Emma wants to know, guest on lane, 42 miles per gallon, Scott, were you pushing it?
I used to have a Gixxer like that.
Do you want to move on to the MT09 then?
Z-Ted's wrote, he can't see past his ZZR 1400. He wants another bike to go along with it, but doesn't know what he wants. Maybe a Grom. He is 6'5".
I think there's a video coming on here.
I want Scott, who's 6'4", and Z-Ted, who's 6'5", on Groms.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
That would be special, by the way. Special needs, but that would be special.
That'd be brilliant.
That'd be
Here's a question for you, Z-Test put up, Greg. Has anyone looked at a tank conversion for the MT10 that you know of?
Not that I know of. I've heard people talk about doing it, but I've never actually seen anything. I've seen folk with 10 or 1200s and stuff with extra fuel packs and stuff like that, but I've never actually seen anyone do it for an MT10 yet. Right. But no, it's a good idea because at the end of the day, they did the MT10 Tourer, and to call a bike a Tourer with 100 and how much do you get to a tank miles? 140, 150 at a push, or you get?
No chance he gets that.
No,
it's like 100, 102.
100. Oh, Christ.
Looked at it.
Right, well.
See when the tank matches, that's when I fill it up.
If he's roughly going by how we were riding yesterday, and we were almost at the same, I would say he's getting about 125 to 130 to a tank, because that's what I get in the Z. So he'll be thereabouts.
Aye. Yeah. So no, it would be a great thing to get, just a slightly bigger tank. And maybe if they're bringing a new one out, they would finally address that. But we'll have to wait and see.
Don't get me wrong. See if you're using that bike to its capabilities every time you go out and you're caning it, I think people are doing it like that. 100 miles a tank, but that's going for it all the time.
Aye.
We went to Fort William and we run. I hope nobody videoed it, but besides that, the average speed was quite high.
Aye.
It wasn't any worse than that's 73.5, I think, was the average. There was a CBR 1000, the Fireblades. I think, did you go in your Blade, Chris?
Yes.
I think you went in your Blade. There was a CB 1000R. What else was there that day?
1000 and CBR 600R.
There was a Gixxer as well, and I was no worse than any one of them. We all filled up at the same petrol station. There was nobody.
The worst that I've seen is Mark's, because we did push going to Inveraray that day, and he got to the last petrol station before the noon with 1.8 miles left to go. and we were, and from Inveraray to that petrol station, you're lucky if he was over 55 mile an hour.
Aye.
And he was struggling big time.
Aye, my fuel flashes and starts the countdown again at 80 miles.
Aye.
So I reckon I've got 20 after that, pushing it. Like
Jesus.
Gone at granny speed. I done 15 that night with you, so I got to 95, and I was expecting trouble, but we made it. So
Top Gear challenge, mate.
Well, it's the power. We know the reason. We all know the reason for it. It's the power commander map that's on it. It's stupid.
Right.
It's just daft. So, but I've got used to it now. I like the sound of it. And then Chris gave me the worst can in the planet.
Fanta can.
But I love it, and I'm prepared, as you say. If you want to enjoy it, then put petrol in it, and that's what I'm doing. So,
yep, quite right.
You're getting older anyway. You're going deaf. Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, mate. I can't fucking hear anything anyway. I'm not built in a year.
See, before you move on to the 09, Gaston Lane's put up one for Greg that he should take part in the new collab video later this year. Drop them details if you're interested, and I'll explain what it's all about, mate.
Aye, cool. Sounds good. Why not? I'm keen.
There's a good one for
Hold on
your
a
man.
minute. I've just figured this out. Carlos, Emma's getting Carlos even more discount. This is what this is all about. Emma, I'm on to you, Emma.
Be careful, Greg. They're only after a discount. There, Stevie made a good point. Lift your visor, and that's your outside temperature gauge.
Yeah.
It's just a typical answer for him. But we go. Somebody answered it back. What's that? If your eyes freeze over, you know it's cold. That's true. We get any more questions there before we move on? Get yourself a fuel buddy. What? A fuel can just in case.
All right. Yeah.
That'd be great if I came off the bike. Where am I supposed to put that in my backpack? Was he talking about the wee cans?
Aye.
Just know the class one.
That's a good idea. Actually, now I know what you're talking about.
You should just get with the army bikes and just sit a couple of jerry cans in the back, man. You're sorted.
That could be my panniers, my soft panniers I bought, mate. I'll just fill them with petrol.
Put them in the bag that you get inside it. There we go. I'm going to fill up quickly before we move on.
Aye, that's fine. I'll do that when you come back, mate. So,
we'll
go into the MT09 next. Greg, give you a chance to bring up any information or whatever way you want to describe it. I know you're doing your own stuff tonight, so again, thanks for coming on and doing it. It is really appreciated that you're giving up your time for us.
No, it's quite all right. Cheers for inviting me down. But the 9's the one I've been wanting to. I just think the amount they've done to this. I mean, I kind of said it before, but the amount you're getting for your money with an MT9 this year is just amazing. I think for me,
wait for Chris to come back. He'll get upset if you start with film. Oh, there he's back. I'm going to refill, mate. But you can talk about it. I've done quite a bit of research on the MT09. You know I'm a Yami fan anyway, so
I know it.
I'm away for a refill. I'll lead you to it, right?
No worries.
Fuck off.
So the big thing for me is the electronics on it this year, and electronics on bikes. I know a lot of folks say that you shouldn't rely on them, and they're not the be all end all. And that's true, but at the same time, some of the stuff they've put on it's the same things that they had on the R1 for a few years now. That 6-axis IMU, and it's just so smart. It knows it's just doing so many crazy little sums, working out how to look after you, but also how to make you have fun with things like slide control and lift control. And instead of just having traction control to stop you from skidding too much, it's got slide control, if it's the same as it was on the R1, which I assume it is because it's meant to have M mode, which is your kind of manual takeover, and you can put all the settings to what you want. So slide control effectively will let you drift the bike to a certain extent. It will let that happen. That's a fun toy, and that's the kind of electronic I would use, because if I drift a bike, it's by mistake, and I normally snap the throttle shut because I didn't mean to do it. I just don't have the balls to really throw a slide out yet. Maybe at some point I will, but for the time being, it always happens. It's a wee thing, and it's good fun, and it makes me giggle. But it would be nice to have a bike that could let you push it a bit further. Obviously, sticking within your own comfort zone and not just completely relying on it, because that's how accidents happen. But at least it's it's got your back. And then the lift control as well. So it's not wheelie mode, but it might as well be in some senses, because it's various stages of how fast you want your front wheel to lift. So it won't pick how high your wheel is and lock it there like some bikes can do. All it is it starts to lift, and you can set it in the most intrusive and it'll hold it down, or you can let it off a bit and it'll just, you give it a handful and it'll slowly come up, so you don't need to feel like you've got this. It just makes you feel more confident. And I think, you know, a lot of folk wanting to play with their bike a bit more, to have something like that that's kind of a wee bit of a safety net. Again, I have to reiterate, it is not going to, you know, you cannot rely on these things to save you all the time, but it certainly makes it a lot easier to have a bit more of a play with your bike.
Is that on the MT09?
That's on the MT9, yep.
We know a guy with an MT07
and
who's really interested in it.
Aye, yeah.
Lee, if you're watching.
Need a bit of hand with the wheelies.
I pop some all the time.
Oh, popping them. Aye, yeah.
Just does it all the time.
Right, and that's a good way to get through the fork seals. But no, having something like that, because you can power it up as well, or you can clutch up and it'll work fine. So yeah, stuff like that it's just great wee toys. It's still got the power modes. This year, instead of having 3, again, I say power modes, throttle response modes, as people know from Yamahas, it's always, you know, the same amount of power but a different delivery of it. But this year, instead of 3, they've got 4, and apparently the 4th mode is actually a rain mode, so it is a kind of cut the power down mode. So they do have a power mode 1 this time, but it's a bit of a dull one. And then they've got 3 throttle response modes, ranging from nice and smooth to mental, as always. So that'll be good. Traction control, again, you've got all that. And then what you can do, because it's got this M mode, you can muck about and you can set up all your settings. So you've got your custom ABCD and stuff like that. And it's just going to be a bit more menu diving, but at the same time, just people like that on bikes now. I mean, I like to muck about with them. I was at Silverstone a while ago with the R1s, and it's nice to go in after a few laps, change the buttons about, go back out, and just see what it does. So yeah, no, I think the electronics are quite exciting on this one. So I'm you know, I'm not that bothered by traction control. It's very useful, but it is just it cuts off the power kind of thing. So yeah, I like that. Headlight, again, we've already touched on it. It divides opinion. What do you guys think of it so far? What did you think when you first saw it?
I didn't like the headlight. That's what put me off.
Yeah.
Again, if they had the old headlight on it, I think it would be brilliant.
Aye, yeah. And that's what most folk were saying at first, and then some folk, like I say, we've got pre-orders in, folk who love it, and then we are just getting folk who say, yep, looks brilliant. So yeah, it's definitely divisive, but that's fine. We'll see what happens with that. You can always change it, like Stubbs was saying before. What else can you do?
Is the power same on the MT09 this year?
Power's gone up. Power was up from 113 horsepower to 119, or 115 to 19. They said it was 4, but so power is up, weight's down. It's 4 kilos lighter, and if you've ridden one before, they were already ridiculously light. So yeah, power to weight's going to be just amazing on it. And yeah, it's just more torque, more fun, just bonkers. And then what I like the most is when they designed the sound on it, they actually got Yamaha's music division in, and they went through, they almost took the airbox apart and got a bunch of guys to rebuild it like an organ. And when you see, there was about 50 different builds they did for it because they wanted the sound to be bang on. So if you look inside, take the covers off, the airbox of these, it's got 3 snorkels going to the airbox. They're all different lengths. So you get, you know, a chord playing when you spank it. And then the exhaust has got 2 exits as well. So they've spent so much time and money making an exhaust that sounds amazing. And then they sell an Akrapovic for it for 1,600 quid, which, you know, they're never going to sell a single one if they spent all that time on it. But you never know, someone might buy it. But, you know, I just can't wait to hear it. I mean, it was already a good sounding bike if you changed the exhaust. The standard exhaust on them was kind of muted at idle, and then when you really went for it on the bike, it sounds amazing. It always has, and it's got that whine that kicks in. But this one is designed to sound good standing still and riding. So yeah, I cannot wait to throw one about.
Can you just change the link pipe on it like somebody did with their MT10 and it sounds like a Formula 1 car? You
won't be able to. No. If you look at them, again, it's kind of like with the MT7 where they've got the exhausts all tucked underneath the bike, and it's one big unit. So yeah, there's no option to do that, unfortunately.
That goes to the headers right through to the pipe.
Yeah, I've got a funny feeling it might be the kind of thing that folk are going to end up, because it's got such a good sound in the first place, it might be the kind of thing that you might want to take off. Not that you should do this, of course, but then get someone to cut it open, take some parts out, move them about, get the cats out, put it back together, because they put that much time into designing it to work as it is and sound as it is. Just decat it that way, and it may well just sound amazing anyway. I don't know. Someone will do it first. Just wait until they've done it and then see if it's worth it. But no, other than that, I mean, you've got the brakes this year as well, radial caliper. So yeah, you're going to get a lot more bite at the front. What else was there as well?
What about the front wheel? Is it true that they brought that in towards the radiator by 1.5 inches or something?
Yeah, the rake, I'm trying to remember, the rake is the same, but the trail's slightly different. So the overall wheelbase is shorter. The front end's slammed down a bit more, so you're much more over the front wheel, and it's shorter. And then on the wheels as well, the wheels are spin forged now. So they've actually managed to... It's weird when you hear how thin your wheels are. It gives you no confidence in them, but just forget about it when you're riding it. But they've managed to get the wheel wall down from 3.5 mil to 2 mil. That's all that's holding the wheel. But it's stronger and it's thinner. And they've lost 700 grams across a set, and 700 grams on wheels. I mean, it's rotational inertia. So you're actually 700 grams once it's spinning is something like you're actually on the bike. It's the equivalent of saving about like, I don't know, a couple of kilos almost.
It's always 2 kilos.
Yeah. So it's such a good place to lose weight. So yeah, they've done a really good job there. And what else was there? There's something else I was thinking about there. Quick shifter. Quick shift up and down. All I've heard from up and down, yeah. So that'd be nice. From what I've heard from reviews, a lot of people say that the downshift takes a bit of a stamp. And I've never seen the word blipper written anywhere. I mean, you'd have to have one, surely. Surely, yeah. I mean, you can't really do a smooth downshift without a blip, so it must have one. But everyone says it needs a smooth stamp, a hard stamp. So maybe that's just because they were riding bikes with 0 miles, and test riders kick the shit out of bikes anyway. But it'll be interesting to see what that's like. I mean, the upshift on them's always been amazing. It's the same on the MT10. It's a lovely bike just to crack it open and kick up through. But having downshifts as well is going to be fun. And it's a fully ride-by-wire throttle now as well. So, yeah, they've done quite a bit. Oh, another big thing they've done, I'd forgotten about, the swing arm. So they've moved the swing arm from being an externally mounted, it's an internal mounted now. So that's going to make it so much stiffer, lighter. And it's just, yeah, they've completely overhauled it. It's an entirely new frame. It's a new engine. It's a new bike. They've just done everything to it, and I cannot wait to have a shot.
See the dial, the speedometer. Have they put that in the centre?
It is in the centre. Aye, aye. I was the X. Yeah, it was a bit of a strange move that, and yeah, because they did it with the XSRs as well, and they had that off to the side, and it's odd. Yeah, it's one of those things you just want to. You're going along, you just want to look down, but yeah, no, thankfully it is slap bang centre, and it looks like quite a cool little. I've seen a few folk complaining that it's quite small because it's only 3.5 inch screen, but I'm not really a big fan of dashes anyway. I'm not really that bothered by them as long as I can see what I need to see, and I'm not really.
No.
I just don't really get the fascination with it. Same Bluetooth as well. I'm not bothered by Bluetooth. I don't get the fascination with Bluetooth on bikes. Why do you want to know who's phoning you and who's texting when you're out and you're playing on your bike? It's the last thing you want. So there you go.
Yep.
But no, other than that, what have we got? That's the main thing.
No, I've got a few questions. So I'll go for there is some good questions there between one bike and the other, but that's strange, isn't it? Away you go. We're looking at MT09s for work, police bikes.
Cool. Brilliant.
And then Guest Online came back with a good reply to it. There'll be coppers doing wheelies everywhere. But that shows you. That shows you what people think of the bike. They're thinking of it for police bikes.
Yeah.
So
I think the strange thing is, why would you go for a 9 when there's a 10 there?
Why would you go for a 10?
It might be today with fuel consumption.
There won't be anything in that though, so you wonder why you would do an MT9 when you've got the 10 sitting there.
It could be just it could be to blend in with the rest of us. I don't think they'd be marked. I don't think they'd
Because
be
you don't really see a
marked.
lot of that style of bike for the police. I don't know if they may be looking
No,
at for more kind of getting around town or something. Or
I know, because all you really see is the
Creeping about trying to catch us would be
Now,
one good thing for it. Zhead asks a good question. What's the legality regarding decanting a bike?
as far as I know, it's more to do with, well, for cars, it's your emission testing. So you take it to an emission tester, and obviously they can fail you because your emissions have gone up, but there's no emission tests on bikes. I don't know the legality, to be honest with you. I just, I'm quite happy to have it done and no questions asked.
How would you treat
but
it when they done it to a bike, say in a PCP, and then you're getting the bike back? You don't look at it.
Well, the thing is, we do it. You know, so it must be legal because we do it. They go to MOT stations, and then the only other way, I mean, the police could stop you and say your bike's not road, it's not got a road legal stamped exhaust, but as long as you've got a stamp on it, I've never heard of anyone getting done for having a stamped exhaust. Well, not in Scotland. I've heard a few stories of England. Apparently, they're really clamping down on noisy exhausts, and they're even banning ones with stamps as long as they're above a certain decibel. But I don't think they tend to look for the cats, from what I've heard. But that's just, I don't know. I don't actually know the law because it's never really come up. No, that's a good question. I'll look into that because that's quite interesting. Honestly, you just don't think about that.
You're not getting my standard results back. You're not getting standard results back with me.
What technology from Yamaha MotoGP bikes would they like to see filtered down into the customer bikes?
Well, I was reading something the other day, and it was to do with what was that? Launch control. Yeah, launch control would be nice. To be fair, it's on quite a few bikes now, so it'd be good to see Yamaha get a bit of that just for fun.
Coming out a large car park.
Launch control and seamless shifts. I'd love to see seamless shifts. And I was reading a thing the other day about how seamless boxes they're very close to being on standard customer bikes. And they've been out for about is it 8 years or something like that, or 12? It was quite a long time they've actually been using them for. I think when they get to the point you've got those. I mean, the only problem with the seamless shift is I don't actually mind. I quite enjoy pulling the clutch and changing gear. I don't mind, kicking through. I don't use the clutch on the way up, and there's a bit of fun to it. But the thing I do like is just not disturbing the bike at all. You know when you use a quick shifter and you don't disturb it. You don't get any wiggle through the bars if you get a bit of a nasty downshift or something like that. So that'd be good. Other than that, the one thing I don't want to see from MotoGP on any Yamahas is big stupid wings that are appearing on all the other bikes, because I just think they look so stupid on a road bike.
Ducati's taking it to a new level. They've
just gone so far.
Two at the middle, and then they've got the two at the bottom now as well.
Yeah, and it just looks bonkers. And each to their own. But yeah, for me personally, I just think they look just mad. And you need to absolutely cane it around a track before you'd feel any difference anyway. And I don't think many people who bought a £100,000 Ducati Street Fighter are going to use it on they're just going to put it in a case.
No, they don't. They send it back.
Although I might did see one.
So every time you see them, they're on flatbeds getting back to Ducati to get fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not a dig, that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Plus, no, if they put the wings on say Yamahas, you're only going to catch them and try to get into a large car park by that fucking post thing. So it's pointless. Since large seems to be the main thing.
If you look at MotoGP last week, you'll see it with the Ducatis with the 3 sets of fins on it, and with the crosswind through Qatar, it absolutely nailed them. So it slowed them down because the Suzuki was absolute flyby. All right, they ended up winning in the end, but it took them a good bit to get through. Well, we came second, sorry, but it took them a good bit to get through it. That crosswind was killing them with the 3 fins on it.
The other thing that was amazing to me as well was just how much Ducati, I mean, they have made a phenomenally fast bike. I mean, the launch on those, the straight line speed is incredible. But I just don't think tyre companies have got up there. Like, they're actually ahead of tyre companies right now. They've made something that can brake so hard, it can ride so hard, that rubber just isn't at the point that it can keep it in control. And if we'll wait and see. That's only one race. It might just be they're needing to find the limits a bit more. But Zarco is someone who can find the limits pretty well. And we'll need to wait. Aye. Oh, yeah. I've always said Zarco's a phenomenal rider, and I think when he went to Red Bull, he obviously went for Red Bull money, and then he was pissy about going, but he didn't even want to go to Pramac. He was, and then he's out on their bike, and Zarco on a fast bike is an incredible rider.
Although when we're talking about Ducatis coming down the straight, the Suzuki absolutely flew by him.
Aye, that's right. So and also Vinales, see the amount of times that Vinales, well, most folk were just getting on the brakes so much faster than them because they're carrying that much speed, they were braking early. Yeah. And it was just kind of balancing out. So it makes for good racing when the bikes are that kind of mismatched. It's going to be a great season.
They've came leaps and bounds Suzuki, and I'm not a Suzuki fan, but
I'm kind of the same. I was never a big Suzuki fan, but more and more they're really kind of growing on me. And to see them doing that well, fair play to them. That's a good team, a real team. I felt so bad for Pins at the end of that. Was horrible.
I know.
Lucky, but that's racing.
I've got a question here for Grant. I keep saying we MT07 biker, but it's Grant. So MT09 or Z900, if you know about the Z900, what's your opinion?
I'll put in a wee totally. For Greg here. Get the RS. It's in MCS.
Aye. Yeah, get the RS.
It's sitting in Greg's showroom. Go down and get it. It's stunning.
We need to wait till he comes back.
MCS has the nicest Z900 RS in Cafe Racer, sitting in their front window. Stunning, so it is.
Is it going to be big gremlins or is it going to be wee gremlins?
Robert Scott, how we doing? Welcome.
Evening, Robert. We're having a wee bit of technical difficulties with Greg.
Unfortunately, the MT10, my riding position picks up the speedo unless I ride like that. Doesn't quite suit me or ride like that. It's just one of the things I'm fine tuning. I'm getting to it.
Aye, a big black bit of tape.
See, the thing is, when me and Chris went to, I've done some teasers and all that, but when me and Chris went to Inverary, see, in that run, which I'll actually put in the video now, you've kind of spoken about it, but see on the video I was shooting, I'm actually saying to myself, don't look down, stop looking down, because I can't be blurring it.
I can't.
I don't like to blur it. So
there's a
blur it.
Good comment there, right at the bottom. That's what Greg thinks about that. No comment.
Yes. Because he believes the 900 is better than the MT7. Yes, Greg. Convert them all.
Just walked in.
Robert Scott, the new R7.
I've not forgot about your question, Robert. It was in the Facebook.
It was asked. I actually asked it at the beginning, if you remember. And there's no. It's paper talk basically, isn't it? There's no yes or no answer yet. They're hoping there might be an R7 or an R9, but at the moment there is absolutely no talk of building one, mate. So keep your eyes peeled, I would imagine.
You'll end up like Teapot, LOL.
But there's no real grass going in.
Well, yeah, hold on. Live chat. Anybody checked the likes and dislikes yet?
Oh, right, no. I know. No, yeah.
So as away you go, is he a cop then? Should we be talking about anything?
Hey. Sorry about that.
How you feel, mate? We thought you didn't want to answer the question, but I'll bring it back up again.
I did say that it's because you thought the Z was better and you thought you can't answer it, you'll just jump off.
That's me done. Well, obviously, I'm wearing a Yamaha fleece and a Yamaha shirt, so I'm probably going to be a bit biased. But total honest opinion, between the pair of them, I think it just depends on what you want from it, because the MT9, the triple, is a totally different character to the 4. The MT9, it's a bit lighter, and it's got the triple, so it's got the torque. It's a bit more kind of, it just pings about. But the Z900, if you want something that is just so smooth to ride, and it's easier to ride, I would say, is the simplest way to put it. If you just want to go out and just have something that you can absolutely pin about and chuck about, yeah, the Z900 is a cracking bike, and they handle like they're on rails. So no, between the pair of them, I think just go with the one that suits your riding style more. But yeah, for me, MT9, because I think that's just the best engine out there of any bike. It's got all the torque I want. It lifts the front. It's just a really fun bike to ride. But the Z900, yeah, like you say, the RS we've got in, I think the styling on...
Stunning.
Oh, he's away again. He doesn't like this question.
His internet doesn't like this question.
No.
And that's it. He's trying to sell the RS.
You know, I don't know. Have you test rode a Z900?
No, he just likes them.
Just likes them.
Well, I would let him test ride the Z1000, but there's no way his feet can touch the ground and lift that up, right? Because it's so heavy. So I'm sure it's like 220 odd kilos.
Oh, is it?
Oh, it's so heavy. It sits like that as well, remember? It's so heavy.
He's just sitting still, he's not moving at all.
Robert Scott has said that they have done 2 cab registrations for 2 different R7s. Greg hasn't read or seen it or heard about any of that.
There's no comfort.
You should it when he comes back on. We'll just double check them.
He just sat on.
He sat on one that was too wide for him. That's the RS, but it's a cafe racer, so it will be wide.
Right, okay.
So I'll look at my sports tourer and with my sports tourer, Mr. C.R. Smith.
Just getting back to the police thing. I've seen a wee advert on the police in Italy, and they use GSs.
Yes.
Oh, they.
Greg's coming back.
But you know, it's back again.
The internet is just so crap.
You really don't want to talk about the Z, don't you know?
It does look that way.
Twice.
But we'll move on then, just we can keep for that question. But we've got Robert Scott. He says...
Hold on. Why is there not a new MT10?
I knew.
He said he was going to come to that, so he did later.
He's right to jump in. He wants a new one. That's fair enough.
I want a new one.
No, you misunderstood that. I want to keep the MT10 and buy a Triumph Tiger. Penny, I'm sorry if you're watching. I do want to spend more money. But I want... Aye. Greg, over to you.
Yeah, it's... We sit there and we get emails through when a new bike comes out, and we were watching it this year and we're like, oh, it's a new MT9. Oh, that's a weird looking thing. I quite like it now though. The MT7, cool. Tricity, all sorts of stuff starts appearing. And we're just sitting there waiting for the MT10. And like we're thinking, oh, is it going to have a turbo, all this kind of stuff? And then we just waited. And then you check the stock list and it just said MT10 is not available until 2022. And you're like, right, so what you're saying is you're not telling us there's a new model, but you're just saying there's no more available for a year. It's pretty much just saying there's a new model, isn't it? But yeah, for some reason, that's the way they've played it, and there's not much we can do about that. So for this year, if you want an MT10, it's going to be the current model, and it's going to be ones that people have got left because you can't even order them. So it is a shame. They've obviously just missed the boat a bit, but there you go. I think there will be people who go for the MT9 instead. But there'll be other folk who'll just wait, and that's fair enough because, I mean, if it's going to have the same kind of, and it's got to have the same 6-axis IMU and all that kind of stuff. And with that much weight, they're going to have to throw something else in there as well just to make it worth the wait. So come on, Yamaha, do it.
A supercharged, but
I don't know. There was all the rumors of the turbocharge, and then obviously the Kawasaki did the supercharge. I don't know. I don't know, the way everyone else is going, I think maybe they'll try and just... It's hard to say. It's like when the Hayabusa disappeared.
Like
MT10.
Internet powered by Yamaha.
I know, I've seen it.
That's what I was laughing at.
Away the petrol station.
Yes, away you go. Look your lot.
Oh, there's nothing worse.
So I suppose I've got that's the MT10. I need to get it back in 2022, so hopefully.
So they're discontinuing it for a year.
You can't order one.
Can't order
you
one.
Can't, so it's only stock that's left are pre-registered stock, so
Follow the one I've got.
that's going to push everyone onto a 9. To be
Maybe
fair,
they'll just try to bump the sales up for a year for the 9 and then swap it next year. Possibly.
I don't know, maybe ask him what the sales were. He knows what the sales were for the MT07, doesn't he? He can maybe let us know what they were for the 9 in Europe.
What they were for the 9 and the 10 this year and see if they're really lagging.
Because that was a big thing on the MT10 forums. People passing their test, and do they take the jump from a small bike to a litre bike, or do they go to the MT09 in the middle? And they could never make a decision.
got a quick question for you, Greg. What sales MT09, MT10, and then which I don't know if Yamaha does this way. What's the prediction for this year that they're hoping that MT10 will buy MT09s?
I assume that's all they can be doing, really. I mean, in terms of what you're getting for the money, I think a lot of folk will. There will be folk who'll be looking at a change bike. They've been Yamaha through and through. This is the year their PCP's up. There's no MT10, but when you look at what you get with the MT9, I mean, it's a 120 horsepower street bike. It's still a fast, fun bike with loads of toys. I think there'll be a lot of folk who go, oh, well, I'll do a couple of years on that, and then I'll get the MT10 in a bit. I think that's the only way they can really do it. There will be some folk who are through and through, I want an MT10, I want the biggest, I want the fastest. And unfortunately, they're just going to have to wait. But it's just one of those things.
What was the sales last year for the 9 compared to the 10? Are they lagging and they think, right, we'll stop the 10 and get the sales up on the 9?
No, not really. I think you got a good mix of both. Yeah, I think all three, the 7, the 9, the 10, they all sell well. So no, I think they've missed something. I think they've missed just getting things ready on time. I don't know. Either that, it's possibly, I mean, I hate the word, but Brexit or something like that. Something has just knocked something out of time, and because it seems a bit weird to release a new range. Mind you, they released the MT125 and the MT3, the new versions of them last year. So maybe they have been trying to feed it in, but you'd think they would have kept a bit more stock of MT10s aside to kind of, so you've still got an option.
So they've just missed a deadline with the 10 and then just what? But they don't have the time to get it out. Let's just scrap it for 1 year. No hurt us.
It does feel that way. And yeah, for all I know, I mean, I could just go into work on Tuesday and they say, oh, we've actually got another run of MT10s. They could still do that. But it seems weird that they, everything else says not available and they say coming back in Q1 2022. So that does kind of imply, nothing until then, which means new bike. So at least it's something to get excited about, I suppose, the new MT10. It's just a shame that the way it's been done, but what can you do? It's think they're
going to try and compete with the Super Duke? Power it right up a bit?
I think they're going to have to. I think, that's
the big comparison I always hear, the MT10 or the Super Duke. And the lacking power, obviously, there's 187 brake.
Aye, yeah. Super Duke, and then even things as bonkers as the Street Fighter, you're getting things like 208 horsepower on a naked now. So I think to stick with 160, as much as most people do say 160 is all you need, you've just got to play the game. It's if everyone else is going for the big boy toys, then you've got to start making them as well. And that's if they don't, then we'll see what happens. But I could only assume they'll be pushing, even 170, 180 would be kind of. You'd be happy with that. I don't think you need to go to 208 horsepower, but if you want the willy waving numbers, then you do, I suppose. But that's it's never really been Yamaha's thing. They're more about the kind of get something that just works really well and well thought out.
I think the way this chat's going, we're going to get a seal. That bottom comment there, Mark.
Aye, just seen it. Cracking 2018 MT07. If I come down with £500 cash, can I ride away in an MT09?
Most of them want some credit for this, but
well, I never talk numbers with a beer in my hand, so give us a call on Tuesday.
Although I think you might have spent about $1,000 on it in the past month.
Aye,
upgrades at us boys, but this man's done it. Jesus, man.
Here's a question for away you go for Greg, which I think is going to put you in the spot, mate. But if you had to choice any bike, what would you pick?
It's tricky because there's just so many I like. Any new bike, it would be an MV Augusta, the Super Veloce, just because I think it's stunning. Any bike ever. I don't know.
If you say MT-07, I'm disconnecting you.
Any bike ever. Oh, I don't know. To be fair, probably another MV, the F4, when that first came out, I thought that was absolutely stunning. Yeah. I mean, I can't afford nice, big, fancy bikes. So even if there was something from Yamaha or Honda or something like that I liked from the past, I would still get, you know, the one that costs a fortune, so I could punt it and buy lots of bikes. So, so the most expensive one. But no, yeah, MV. I just love MV Augustas. I don't have the pockets to look after one, so even buying an F3 or something like that, you know, when you know you've got a service coming up that costs more than I spend on a bike, you're just kind of like, that puts me off. But maybe one day.
There's Geston Lane. I think this is Emma that's controlling it tonight. Yeah. But personally, this comes up a lot. I like the 10 because of the power delivery. The 09 feels a bit more snatchy. I've heard a lot of that. The 10 doesn't have this issue.
Well, sure,
doesn't feel like it.
Sure, Geston was talking about how the wheelbase of the old 9 was so long that when he felt it was getting curves, he felt it was going to slide through under him, and obviously with them shortening it, I think
that's going to correct that. Aye.
Yeah. No, I've heard that a lot too, and I totally agree. The MT10, you go out on that, and you feel like you could tour on it. You've got more of a kind of a smooth bottom end, and then when you want to give it a handful, it's an animal. But you can ride it in a very smooth, sedate way. Whereas the 9, it's just because it's dropped a cylinder. It's a bit more kind of on off, and a lot of people get them retuned, and you can lose a bit of that. So I don't know. I mean, I ride a twin, so it's the same kind of thing. You know, when I'm on and off the power, it is kind of on and off. I mean, if you look on any forums for TDM 900s, you know, there's the first page is, right, you need to pull out this wire and you need to do that and do that. And there's so many mods just to make the thing rideable and not cut out when you twitch the throttle at the low speeds. But then once you've done all that, it's fine. And it's the same with the MT9. It's you can ride it as it is and get used to it. And that's what I quite like. Once you get used to it, it's not so much snatchy as abrupt. It's kind of like, right, we're going, as opposed to throwing you about. But it does take a bit more kind of getting used to. I remember the first few times I rode one, I almost came away with quite a sore wrist and hand because I felt like I was having to do it to get the small amount of control. I felt like I was just tensing my hand up. But then when the more used to it you get, the more you can do it quite fluid and loose, and then it just feels right. So yeah,
there's a few people doing this just now on the MT10 forums as well. Lower the front end.
Oh yeah, lower the front end on any bike. Yeah, I mean, don't go too far. But even my FZ8, I mean, that was a cracking bike, but the turning on it was quite slow at first. So then, yeah, I just dropped it a bit. And then, but if you're lowering the front end, just do like 5 mil at a time. 5 mil, go out, ride it. And then 5 mil, go out, ride it. Don't just drop 30 mil and go, that'll handle great, because you will get into a tank slapper on the wrong bike. But yeah, no, it's always a great idea. And if you're not sure, obviously get a pal to do it, because there's nothing worse than, you know, doing it too low and putting yourself in bother, or worse than that. Well, not... I'm saying that putting yourself in bother is worse than putting your bike in bother here, but you know, not checking your torque settings and horsing up all your bolts and cracking it and having to buy a whole new, you know, set of crowns and stuff like that is not a good idea. So if you don't know what you're doing, ask someone, because it is a great idea. But yeah, lowering the front end of a bike, so yeah, it will improve the handling to a point, and then when you get too far, it'll make it worse. So it's something fun to play about with. It's a free mod that can really improve your bike and make you a better rider. So yeah, crack on.
And don't ask your pal, because if I was to ask any of them two, then I'd be in bother.
Yeah, by pal I mean mechanic. Ask a trained, qualified mechanic.
Mark, you're going to take
that. Yeah, I'd do that. Take 40 mil off it. Let's go for it.
Yeah, lawsuit.
I would definitely do that. Aye, 40 mil, you'll be fine. On you go, Chris.
Yeah.
I'd get a go.
You know a guy who probably cut his ports.
Well, once everything gets back to normal, we've got Dave. He does the suspension setups as well. So if anyone's wanting to come down and get that done, just charges 1 hour's labour, 66 quid. Come in, spend an hour with Dave, and then if it's not right, just bring it back until it is. But no one does so far. I mean, this guy's been doing it for so long. He gets it right first time. So normally in that time, you take it out, you bring it back, and they'll do one little tweak. And I've never seen anyone come. Well, sorry, I've seen one person come back a few weeks later and go, it wasn't quite right, and it's all right, cool. Get you booked in, get it done again. It's and it is
the difference between the SP and the normal 10. It's obviously the SP is the Olin setup.
For the 10 or the 9, sorry.
The 10.
10, yeah, so it's the Olin, it's Olin's electronic setup. So
but people actually prefer getting a standard 10 and actually getting it built for them.
Exactly, because the thing is, when you buy a bike, if you go out and you come down and see Dave, who's got 40 odd years of experience of doing this, and he will get your bike right for you. Or you buy a bike which has got all these buttons you can play with to really fuck the suspension up if you want to. Then you just sit and play with it and go, I need a bit more here and a bit more there. And then you just go, you can really make it much worse if you don't know what you're doing. So yeah, no, I completely agree. And also for the MT10 SP is really, it's got settings so you can make it track mode. That's really what it's about. You can put it to the point of this suspension is designed for completely smooth, perfect tarmac, and make it that stiff and that, at the flick of a button. And if you put that setting on the road, it won't be fun to ride. It'll just be every single wee pothole and groove in the road will be throwing you about. So, no, I think if you mainly use your bike on the street and then occasionally use it on the track, then just one setting in your suspension, which is a nice one, that's all you really need. Mm-hmm. But everyone likes to have toys, so why not?
I do.
So with that, obviously the SP it's obviously the MT09. So what's the difference with the SP and the MT09 then? Considering you just said it's not worth all the electronics.
No, for the 10, so the 10 it is. I mean, we've even got John that comes down the shop all the time and helps out. He bought the SP and the 10 SP, and he even said himself he bought the 10 SP so that when he's filling it up with fuel, which you do quite a lot, as you know. And someone else pulls up on a standard MT10, you can look at them and just have that moment. That's why he bought it. He thought that was worth the extra money, was just the kind of, I've got the SP. And that's why people buy the SP. It's literally just to kind of go, I've got the SP. Because unless the Olin suspension is incredible. Don't get me wrong. You do get what you pay for. If you were to go out and fit that much kit to your bike, it would cost you a fortune. So it is, you do get a lot for the money. And if you do take them to a track, definitely worth it. It'll make it a better track bike. But for road riding, standard MT10 is fine. But for the 9 for this year, the main differences are, so again, it's the suspension. It's the fully adjustable front and rear suspension. I can't remember, is it an All-in shock again on the back? I think it's KYB front, All-in's back like it was last year. They've got the cruise control. That's a different one for this year. So the MT9 SP this year also has cruise control, which they didn't have last year. And then you get better stitching on the seat. So slightly better stitching on your seat. So, there you go. But yeah, it's and also I just think the SP this year, the 9 SP, I think it just looks amazing. I think that color scheme is, yeah. If I was looking at the colors that are available in the 9 and that, I would go for the SP just purely on how it looks. I think it just looks stunning this year. And so far from the orders we've had, it's the SPs that are selling already. And we found that last year. It was all the SP, people of the SP. It's a cracking looking bike, and it's got nice suspension, and it's just a nice bike.
Brilliant.
Is it true if you bought all the extras for the SP, put on your standard 9 or 10, it would cost you far more than what you sell them for?
Sorry, have you took them off of it? Or
no.
You mean if you bought a standard one and bought the kit and fitted it? Yeah. So last year, for example, so if you bought an MT9, the standard one, it was a different fork. It was a KYB fork on both, but it had a different adjustability on the SP. So the fork would cost you, I don't know, I don't really see them aftermarket, but you've got to be the guts of, $1,000 for them. Rear shock, an All-in's rear shock with a piggyback on it, it's got to be, £800-900 plus your fitting costs. And it was only about £1,000 a difference. So yeah, it's much cheaper to buy them like that. And again, if the last year's MT9 SP was really brought out because the standard 9 suspension, as a lot of people found out, if you really pushed it, it was a little bit more wavy and wobbly, and you could get it tuned down to a degree, but it still wasn't quite as taut as it could have been. So they brought out the SP, and then this year it's the same idea. So still to try the new MT9. I was hoping it was going to be in on Friday, but sadly it's still not. It should be next week, early next week. So I really wanted to have a go and see how it is. But the only thing is, even then, a bike that's getting run in, it's not done 600 miles yet. You're never really going to get to push it to that level anyway. Well, we won't. We got to look after them, but right. Yeah.
We've had no new questions at the moment. There's a lot of what we got. That's between Scott and somebody else in the chat. I don't need to put that up.
Aye, I had to make longer to them.
Well, here we go. We have got a question. Any advice on a suspension setup for a Jigsaw? So, to be honest, you've probably answered that way. Come in and see you, and that's guy that can sort them out.
Yeah, I mean, simplest thing to do as well. I mean, just a bit of preload. Your preload adjustment on those is just a C-spanner, as far as I remember. You should have a C-spanner that came with it, and add a click or two to it. Look it up on YouTube. It's really easy to do, and it is the kind of job that the manufacturers are okay with you doing yourself without getting. You can get it wrong, but as long as you remember where you were and go back to it, you can't go too far wrong. Add one click, ride it with the luggage, and if it doesn't feel right, add another click. And then if it still doesn't feel right, get someone else to have a look at it. But I mean, really, just a bit more preload is just taking that extra weight into account for your bike so that you don't feel it. You're always going to feel it a bit, but yeah, to take that bounce out, like you say, a couple of clicks of preload should do the job. I had the wife on the back of the bike for the first time in ages the other day, and I didn't do my preload, and I could feel it was handling pretty bad. And I had my mate I picked up from Edinburgh, and the last time I saw him, he looked pretty kind of like thin, and he's totally like beefed out. And I picked him up, and he had a massive backpack, and then I had to ride all the way from Edinburgh, and it was like getting dark, and I was on a Tracer 900, and I forgot to add any preload on. And it was when we were going along, we were like tanking it. I mean, we're doing 70 down the motorway, and then we're like, it was starting to get pretty dark, and then I thought, right, we'll turn down, we'll go down the A71, and it was just as I got there, it was pitch black, and I hadn't even thought about the fact that the headlights were pointing up here. I hadn't adjusted them, so it was just it was just terrifying. It was like there was frost appearing on the road, and like you couldn't see, and it was So a couple of clicks of preload, it would be a good idea. That should stop all that kind of stuff, and adjust your headlights if you need to. All the things you should do.
We MT07, Grant has come back with a better offer. He's went for 500 to 600 quid.
Trade in the 07 and give him £100.
Yeah, give us a call on Tuesday. We'll sort you out.
He's not going to talk to you about numbers, Grant. No chance.
Hey man, Carlos.
You like the bit.
Thanks for tuning in.
See you later. Cheers.
Oh, goodbye. Yeah, we'll do. I quite like riding bikes with extra weight on the my TDM. I put a top box on so she can sit a bit more comfy on the back. And when I go and do the Tesco shop with it, it's great. So I can get a big, full, heavy top box. And I went for a ride the other day with it full, and I actually quite enjoy the extra bit of weight. Like you say, it just feels more planted, and it's a different kind of feel to it. But worst case scenario, if it's really bad, just change your shock eventually. Go on to some of the Jigsaw forums and see what other people are doing, because a lot of people do tour across Europe. It is worth a try, you're right. But no, a lot of people tour a lot, put a lot of weight on the back of those. So have a little look. Forums are brilliant for that kind of stuff. It's amazing what little tips and tricks you can find, and shocks from other bikes that just plop straight on sometimes if you're very lucky. No, you can always find something that'll sort your bike and make it perfect for you. So, aye.
It seems to be a custom rack he's got on the back of it as well.
All right, cool, nice.
Well made up, like.
Aye. Aye. I like that's the kind of thing I like. Just properly, customizing bikes with just looking at stuff and going, right, I want that to work, and that's a bit of engineering on it. It's good.
I've never customized my bike.
Never
customized my bike.
No.
Put stickers on
I put a few stickers on it. That's as far as I went.
So is there anything else? I'm going to go for a refill, but while I'm doing that, is there anything else, Greg, that's coming out this year of any would be of interest to any other ranges, any other bikes?
Or yes, or have you got a good deal that's on in the shop that somebody needs to snap up? Other than the Zed.
The deals, best
That
deals
could
we've
be
got.
used as well. That could be used as well.
Best deals we've got 2020 stock. We've got plenty of it there. Give us a call. And yeah, even if you're phoning around other places, give us a call, tell us what they've done, and we'll see what we can do. Because yeah, it's got to go. MT10 stuff like that, obviously they're going to be a bit more limited stock, so we're going to have to see what they're going for. But yeah, give us a shout. Say you've seen us on here, and we'll give you a really good price. But no, especially the MT9s. We've got a couple of MT9 standard ones. We've got a couple of no, sorry, it's just the SPs we've got now. Tracer 900 GT. Yeah, we've got a fair bit of 2020 stock left, so give us a shout and you'll get a proper good price on it. So
away you go. This is MCS Yamaha. I know you're Northern Ireland. This is in Ayrshire.
Northern Ireland's fine. We sell loads of bikes to Northern Ireland, so because there's a bit of a kind of a captive audience over there. From what I've heard, it's mainly just it's Hursts and a couple other places. So
the road up for the ferry to.
It's a very fun road indeed. Yeah. Or we can meet you at the ferry port with a bike. We do that all the time. So yeah, Northern Ireland is definitely part of our. That's where we like to sell to as well. So you're more than welcome.
Asking if there's any Gen 2s ZZR 1400s going.
Not at the moment. No, we had one last year, and it couldn't even. It was sat in the door. I was halfway through cleaning it, and it got sold. So I just if you want stuff like that, give us a call, leave your details, and as soon as it comes in, I can give you a call. So give me a call on Tuesday at the shop, and take your details, and you'll get first shout on it because I've not got anyone else waiting for one right now. So.
And we've also got Grant Mackay looking for 07 restricted A2 if you have any deals.
We don't have any at the moment, but we've got a couple of MT7s. Oh, well, do we? I'll double check that. We should have some 2020 MT7s. I think we've got one or two left. I'll need to double check that. In terms of restrictions, we get the kickstart engineering mechanical restriction, which is just a thing that stops the throttle going too far. Best thing about them. What's that?
It's like a rubber grom that stops.
It's just a wee plate. It kind of stops everything from going too far. We get them. If we're doing a deal, we'll chuck one in. It's that gets it restricted, and then that way you've got the bike, and then when you pass you do your big bike test, and you just get the restriction kit taken off, and then that's you. Obviously, don't do it beforehand.
And we get Grant come back and what's a ballpark figure for your new MT09s?
For the new MT9s, what are they again?
Have a chat.
Mm-hmm.
New MT9s 8999 is the on the road price.
What's your 2020 ones? How much have you got them in?
Oh, I can't remember how much they were. They were about 8.5, weren't they?
There you go, Grant.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but if you have figures you're after, give us a call on Tuesday and we'll sort you out, that's for sure. Aye.
In fact, I'm sure away you go is over here. Does his girlfriend not got somebody over here? I'm sure he says he's always over here anyway. So he's looking obviously for something to go to Northern Ireland. So if you're here, nip on to MCS.
Aye. Yeah,
I think
totally. It's a nice fun ride.
Pricing a belly pan for an MT09.
I don't know. Nah, I'm not sure. Parts like that, it's. I don't think there's an official Yamaha belly pan on their website. There's ones from Airmax, Pyramid, all that kind of stuff. You're normally around 120 to 150 quid for a belly pan. But yeah, we would normally get Pyramid or Airmax. And they look smart. But if there's any other ones you want, give us a shout to see if we can get them in for you. We can get most stuff.
There you go.
I think they should come as standard.
I know. I do. I love a belly pan, and like they look after your pipes. They look cool. They're just. I don't know. It's. But then again, it's like. But if you think of things like MT10s, radiator guards and oil cooler guards aren't standard. It's just the companies wanting to make money. Sorry, Yamaha, but it's true. It's, you know, all these kind of parts which you think, why didn't it come with that on it? Oh yeah, of course, because they can charge you money for it. And it's how they do it, and it's not just Yamaha. It's every single manufacturer. They all make bikes and go, oh, you can make it your own by making parts that stop it getting damaged. But it's a very obvious thing they're doing. But that's just how the industry is. It's like buying a car. You need to buy car mats and mud flaps and all that kind of stuff. It's just how they do it. But unfortunately.
There's Carol got to go.
Cheers,
Carol.
Wee Grant's also said he's got a power bronze in his belly pan. I do remember him.
Oh, aye. Power bronze ones are nice, yeah. They've got quite a nice range of stuff.
Zedhead said, Scott, there's a company called F&F for carbon that do that.
All right, nice.
I'm absolutely not Googling that right now.
Oh, pardon me.
Ideal. All good.
I think that's the questions.
Yeah, they asked the other ones for ballpark figures for Gen 2s and an A2. Grant, you come for air. You can phone MCS on Tuesday. For an A2 license. Exactly. Get your bike and drive into it.
Not real. Is there anything else anybody's wanting covered? Just because we're obviously taking up a lot of Greg's time.
No, you're all right. I was going to ask you, are you guys doing any trips this year? Are you going away anywhere or anything like that? Or?
I'm going to the MotoGP.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. They two don't follow racing.
All right.
No. Strange two up there. I'm at the MotoGP.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going
so you got Silverstone, aye? Yeah, nice.
I'm doing a Thursday to Tuesday, I think, or Thursday to Monday down in Silverstone.
Brilliant.
Other than that, obviously we had the TT book, but everybody had that. So. I don't really get much planned. But I think they're talking about having another lockdown come July. I think they've got a third spike, so they're talking about another lockdown.
And that's the reason why I'm not booking anything.
So we'll see.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, get as much time out as you can because we don't know what's going to happen.
No, exactly. That's it. Yeah. Aye. Like I said, I got the North Coast done last year with a couple of pals, but hopefully get that done again this year.
Standard on because of radius. That's just somebody agreeing with you.
Aye. It's such an annoying because I mean, like, certain things, you know, stuff like different lever, you know, cosmetic stuff or stuff to make it sound or look, you know, fair enough. That's customization, but stuff that protects things from getting damaged from stones, it's just come on, put that on the bike.
I bought yours, didn't I, Scott, for you? I seen you with it, guys. I bought them for you, didn't I?
Yes, down south.
Aye, that was just a. I thought they come with standard and he was just wanting black ones, but it turned out they didn't.
Nah, it's just annoying, and you know it is
annoying when you're paying for that kind of price of bike. Because you're right, it's something that's going to protect your radiator. But it should come as standard.
Yeah, exactly.
For all it is for what was it, Scott? 40 quid, 50 quid.
Aye.
You think they would come as standard? You know what I mean? For the price of them.
Aye.
Have you got any cracking deals that you want to quickly plug?
If you check out the website, I just put up some. With the stock's been kind of a bit slow just now, just with just getting time to put it up. But we got a few things in. We've actually, if anyone's looking for a 750 Gixxer, it's not actually available at the moment. But I picked one up in I picked one up in Edinburgh the other day, and it is mint. It's 15,000 miles, but you would never know it. Honestly, it looks brand new. It's got a Woolwich tune. It's got the decap pipe. It is just, it's beautiful. It's stunning.
Do you do deals for returning customers for an MT10?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it is. It's I need to get the bike out to him. It's going out next week. He's getting an MT10 actually. And then once that's
Benny running up the stairs.
Yeah.
Are you looking for somebody to test ride this Gixxer?
Yeah. That'll be me.
Do you want to accidentally bump into Scott?
I think I might have to, yeah. Where is it you live again?
I like the way this conversation's going.
Aye. Aye. No, we got that. We picked up. Actually,
Scott Penny's on.
Excellent.
I'm so sorry. You've got a jigsaw. What else have you got?
We just picked up. There's a guy sold a CBF1000 to us today. Good tourer for someone. So that's up. That's the lowest. Aye, good point.
That's true.
That's a good point.
Yep.
Yeah. Aye, it's the low. It's 1,300 miles. CBF1000 GT. Cracking touring bike for someone, but 1,300 miles with a 2011. It's so rare to get one. The nearest mileage out there, I think, is 12,000 miles, and they're selling it for 5,200, and we're selling one with 1,300 miles for $5,000. So that's just what we do. We do the best prices. So there's no point having to stop lying about.
No, that's it.
Aye.
That's exactly
Honda
it.
Rebel as well. Got a Honda Rebel in just now. We just got in. That someone's looking for a nice wee A2 legal bike, cruiser style. What else did we get?
In fact, Grant McKay, he's kind of got a kind of cruiser type. Grant, if you're looking rather than the 07 as a restrictor, that's a cracking bike as a restrictor.
They are. They're really good wee bikes, then. Yeah.
Yep.
Aye, give us a shout.
Anything else?
Absolutely.
Other than that, we've got a R125. I've not had one of them for ages. R125 Monster Edition with 300 miles on it. Biking's not for everyone. So sometimes it means that someone gets a nice low miles bike like that. And what else did we put up? There's something else I put up today and I can't think. Oh, a Triumph Sprint GT. 17,000 miles going for about just over $4,000. So yeah.
Another lovely touring bike.
Aye.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the 1050, aren't they?
1050 triple, yeah. Absolute weapon engine, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lovely. After the short one.
Aye. Other than that, have a look at the website. We've got plenty of bikes on there that have been there for a wee bit, just because the season slowed down, and it's just this last couple of weeks it's gone a bit bonkers. So,
It's on a website.
I know, Mark, pop the website. You're in control here. Come on.
Start the website. MCS.
Well, you thought you'd put it up, innit?
Here we go. Right, hold on.
He's not more on the ball. It's because he was out today. Because he was working in, he was out, and now he's in a few drinks.
He's just sitting
Yeah.
He's sitting there going, I carry on, keep going.
That always helps.
This is
The problem is they never get. He's not get some of the bikes on, so.
But you can put the website on.
Aye. They should all be up there by now. Sometimes it takes a few hours to update, but I got most of them up today, so
that's about them up.
There you go. MCS. So, who was it? Away you go.
There's the phone number.
You were asking who that was. There you go. That's the website.
Phone number and email address right at the top there. Well, maybe no email address.
And if you're phoning them, you ask for Greg.
yeah,
Absolutely.
If you're emailing as well, just change that word from sales to Greg.
Well, and if you want, you can go to his house for a kind of McEwen Sport or whatever the hell he's got.
Use export.
Kind of dream juice.
Greg will look after this. If anybody's looked at anything, he's got a good sales name about himself. So as you can see, the guy's a good guy. Get on the phone to him. Get on the emails to him.
Yep. I'm not pushy. I just want folk on the right bike. So
the best way to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask how the 07 is with the restrictor, Grant McKay.
It's just like riding it with half throttle, so it still actually does the job. I took a restricted one out a while ago, and you can still pull away from the lights faster than any car. You know, you still feel it's quick. It's like most of the time when you're riding about round town, you don't really go full throttle anyway. So it's just it's annoying when you get to the national speed limit sign, you crack it open, and you want it to go further, but it's not long, and a couple of years at most, and then you can get onto the big bike license, and then take it off, and then do that. So it's still perfectly quick enough.
We actually ride with a boy who's got a and you actually wouldn't know it.
No, they can keep up.
The backwards, you would know. He's got one. Grant, if you're looking, contact Lee Creighton on our Facebook page, and you can ask him all about it.
Oh, of course,
Honestly,
I sold him his bike actually. Yeah.
Correct. Well,
Aye.
he said he's a returning customer just because of yourself.
Aye.
So go and ask Lee. As I say, he's been out with us many a time and keeps up with everybody, especially
Aye.
around the back roads.
Aye. Well, Zach, one of our mechanics, he just got his big bike test recently, and up till then, we were doing ride-outs, and he'd be on an R3, and, you know, obviously, the ride-outs didn't, you know, we tend to stick to, well, we always stuck to the speed limit, but, you know, there was moments where everyone would get a bit, you know, they'd get to the speed limit faster, and but he would always keep up on an R3. So, yeah, you can do it. It's not the bike, it's the rider, as they say, and obviously ride within your limits. No one's saying go nuts, go mad all the time, but yeah, no, it's restricted bikes, and A2 bikes are still quick bikes. They're still faster than any car you can buy without really hurting your wallet. So it's all about power to weight at the end of the day. So
Excellent.
Yeah,
where we at? I think we'll call it 5 minutes to go. So we're nearly 2 hours in. So we'll call it for 5 minutes. The comments are kind of stopped and the viewing's kind of dropped down, which you would kind
Last orders at the bar.
exactly. Last orders at the bar. So we'll just see if anything else comes in, but I don't think it will because it's just dropped a wee bit there. So you kind of expect that on a Saturday night now that everybody's getting ready for Monday, getting back to work and all the rest of it.
What's happening on Monday? 'Cause I'm on holiday.
Well, for you and Scott, it's a wee bit different. For me, I'm back at work. Well, I've been back at work since Thursday, so I'm officially, customers are allowed in my store on Monday. So it's back to normal without appointments.
I'm putting that on the
Scott, is he plugging his work?
No, I wouldn't do that, to be honest. It's of no interest to me whatsoever, mate, to plug my work. So I'd rather be sitting next to a desk next to Greg selling Yamaha bikes, to be honest.
I think somebody's going to get reprimanded on Tuesday.
I can only reprimand myself. Everybody's saying cheerio, by the way, and we haven't even had. It's just nasty, but
The unpromptu live stream.
Aye, Greg, thanks for your time and the fact that you decided to go live. I think.
Dropped in the deep end.
Is there something that you know about?
Remember, this is the guest on lane thing when they were passing me about.
Right.
For you. What kind of trade-in value would they get for his GPTEK 1000 K8 last service by MCS and just shy of 24,000 miles?
Oh,
Greg's going to point to his can. Phone Tuesday.
I pretty much am. Yeah, I'm going to have to. I'm sorry.
Happy meal.
Well, I'd love some K8 Gixxers are really good stock, so we'll give you good money for it. Simple as that. But no, off the top of my head, I don't know. But I'll need to. I'll have a wee look. 24,000 miles is nothing for one of them, so I'm not worried about that. But yeah, no, give us a shout on Tuesday because we really do want more stock just now. And a K8 Gixxer is always cracking stock, so yeah, we'll sort you out.
Greg, what about a 954 Firebird? Remember, they were only made for 1 year.
They were, and the last one we had sold for good money, so give me a shout as well.
That was me.
No, I've actually got a guy. The guy we sold the last one to is always looking for bikes like that, bikes that are a bit kind of more limited runs and stuff like that. So give us a shout, and I'll see if I can give him a shout and see if he wants another one.
Well, he's on a tug of war with the Vlogster if the Vlogster wants it.
Yeah, all right.
Hi, Panda.
I know. Right, well, that's it. We can wrap it up. So, Greg, thanks a lot. Aye, very much. And if you are watching or anybody's watching it once, obviously tomorrow, next day, next week, whatever, remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps get it the video promote it. If you're looking for a Yamaha or a used bike from MCS, you must ask for Greg.
He's getting desperate.
Grant's just put up his £700, he's saying.
Oh,
he's up there. I know. Stay on a few more hours and we'll get there.
He's obviously a couple of cans of special brew up. He's increasing the figure.
It's either that or he really hates his Barry and mirrors he put on it and he wants rid of the mic.
Yeah.
But I think once you get your demonstrators in, we'll get a wee bit further down the line. If we get any MT10 news or anything else, we can do another one of these.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite happy. Yeah,
Definitely.
Which would be good. A renting special that's coming up in the summer. So
totally. Aye, sounds good to me. No, I quite enjoyed it.
But thanks for your time.
No.
Definitely.
Keep coming on.
No worries, good talking to you.
So don't go anywhere, mate. Don't hit the button.
No, I'm still here.
Scott? You getting dead there or no?
Oh,
What was that?
he wants to book his MT10 in.
Oh, I get it.
All right, we'll do that. We'll do that after.
Big Zed says it's nice to meet you, Greg. John McAllen says thanks for the info. It's been brilliant.
No worries at all. Anytime.
Dunk Von Dunk says cool. Thanks, guys. Good chat. Tonic time. Mr. C.R. Smith. Grant, MT07 biker. Aye, cheers, Greg. So expect a busy Tuesday, I would say.
This is worth a phone call.
Aye.
That's that, definitely. So I've got my cursor over it. So anybody get any last things they want to say?
Nah, just appreciate you. Thanks very much.
No worries. Cheers.
Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Do what you're supposed to do.
Get it liked.
And if you phone MCS, it's Greg, not Alan. Greg.
I'll always tell you to behave.
Any last words, Greg? Anything you want to say, mate, before we kill it?
No, I'm all good there, man.
Excellent. Right, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers, guys.